So now we begin the next unit of the course. And the theme of this unit is the organization of businesses and looking at the structure of market competition with different types of business organizations. So we begin with Module 19, looking at the overall picture of businesses and their role in the economy. So I'd like to begin with a story about the birth and death of firms. Business firms take on a life of their own. The opening of a new firm is called a firm birth. When a firm closes, it is a firm death. Over 600,000 new firms are born in the United States in a typical year. But firms don't have parents. They do have entrepreneurs, though, who create them and try to give them the care they require. That's not so easy. Unlike humans, only half of new firms survive the first 5 years after birth. Given the likelihood of an early firm death, it takes the possibility of profits to motivate entrepreneurs to take the necessary risks. About 1 in 30 small business owners earn more than $1 million a year. Although most entrepreneurs can't expect to become millionaires, all hope to master the care and feeding of their firms well enough to successfully nurture them through many birthdays. In this module, we will discuss the reason for firms' existence and the role of entrepreneurs in firm birth and survival. So we're going to focus on a number of different ideas. The key idea that we're going to focus on is this one right here. And that is that the lure of profit motivates entrepreneurs to take risks and start businesses. That's why the goods and services we desire are supplied to us, because incentives motivate people to do things. And in the business world, it's the incentive of profit that motivates them to supply us with goods and services. So, the objectives that we'll focus on are these. First, I'll describe how the workings of a business firm differ from the workings of a market. Then I'll explain why and how entrepreneurs start businesses, and then I'll discuss the risks and rewards of running a business. So let's get started with this question. Why are there business firms at all? In earlier chapters and modules, you learned how the market brings buyers and sellers together. The market determines what is produced, how it is produced, and who gets it. One place where the market plays almost no role, however, is within a company. If you ever work for a business firm, you will see that each person has a well-established set of tasks to perform. Once you accept a job at a certain wage and become an employee, you will be expected to do your job without further negotiations. Your boss will not say, "I'll pay you $25 if you call a customer this morning." Instead, he or she will assign you the task of calling the customer, and your employer will not ask you how much money you must be paid to go to a staff meeting. You will be required to attend staff meetings, the likely alternative being that you lose your job. Within a business, the price signals that drive markets are replaced by direction from management and established expectations. Nobel laureate Ronald Coase asked why we have business firms at all. Why not dispense with firms and let the forces of supply and demand take over the decisions currently made within firms? After careful analysis, he concluded that it is more efficient to use commands to allocate resources within a firm. Imagine if every time you had to go through an intersection, motorists stopped to negotiate a price for who can go through first. Following the rules established by law, obeying traffic signals and stop signs makes it much easier to get across town. Similarly, workers can't negotiate every work-related decision instead of obeying the boss. The opportunity cost of time spent on unnecessary negotiations can be large. Rules and commands provide a more cost-effective way to allocate labor and other resources within a business firm. Before the efficiencies of a firm can be realized, however, it takes an entrepreneur to create the firm. So, the incentive to earn an income, coupled with a demand for goods and services, creates a willingness to start a firm. And a firm can provide entrepreneurs with income. It can provide them with self-worth in making them feel good about themselves and what they are accomplishing for the world. And it can provide needs for the communities in which they live. Now, you probably recognize the person of this young man. This is Mark Zuckerberg. And he's started a very famous company that most of us use today, and that's Facebook. But in 2003, no one had a Facebook page. But by 2012, more than 500 million people around the world had one. What accounts for this dramatic difference? The answer is simple. In 2003, Facebook didn't exist. No one had created it yet. In order for Facebook to exist, someone had to play the role of entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is an innovator and risk taker who creates new products, figures out new ways of producing things, or starts a business for profit. Entrepreneurs have the vision to see business opportunities that may not occur to others, and the courage to start a new venture. They transform promising ideas into profitable business enterprises. In the case of Facebook, the entrepreneur was this man, Mark Zuckerberg, a Harvard student. When he created the first version of Facebook, he didn't have a new business venture in mind, but he soon realized that he had a good business idea. In early 2004, Zuckerberg began the hard work of developing his idea into a business. He spent a month writing the computer code for a new, more interactive website. He assembled a team to help him market the new service. Within a few months, Facebook was operating on a dozen college campuses. Over the next few years, it spread rapidly to the colleges, then high schools, and finally to anyone in the world who wanted a Facebook page. By 2009, large corporations were offering billions of dollars to buy the company. Zuckerberg and his co-owners refused to sell. Zuckerberg, like Steve Jobs, who started Apple decades earlier, created a new product in a new company where none had existed before. But the employees of an existing company can be entrepreneurs too, when they develop a new product or a new way of doing business. An example of such a product is the Kindle, a device for reading books downloaded from the internet. It was one of many innovations developed by the employees of Amazon.com, long after the company was established. Employees at many large companies play the role of entrepreneur. For example, Stephanie Kwolek was a research chemist at DuPont when she discovered Kevlar, the synthetic material used to make bulletproof vests. But small businesses are a major source of innovations too. For example, you might be familiar with the chocolate chip cookie, which was invented in 1937 by Ruth Wakefield in a tourist lodge called the Toll House Inn. In the table that you see on this slide, it lists other examples of products that were created from entrepreneurial activity at small businesses. You may wish to pause the video right now and take a look at some of these products to realize that they haven't always been with us and that they were the ideas of particular entrepreneurs who came up with new ideas that they think people would want for products and services that we commonly use now. So entrepreneurs play a key role in innovation in our economy. So, what makes an entrepreneur successful? Well, it takes a special type of person to start a successful business. The person must have the initiative and organizational skills to bring many inputs together to produce a good or service. It takes stamina to work long hours to keep the business alive. It takes wisdom to make good decisions about firm location, product offerings, prices, advertising, and the hiring of employees. An entrepreneur must have the ability to raise the large amount of money needed to launch a business. And an entrepreneur must face the high risk of firm death within the first few years of operation. Although everyone is unique, successful entrepreneurs share similar personal characteristics. An entrepreneur is typically visionary, meaning they see a business opportunity when others may not. They are innovative, meaning that they transform ideas into new products, processes, or businesses. They are willing to take risks, putting savings and reputation on the line by starting a new venture. They are commonly optimistic. They're realistic about the world, but they're confident of their own business success. They are self-motivated, meaning they're disciplined and persistent. They're willing and able to solve problems. They don't have to get other people to convince them to work. They do work on their own. They are attentive, meaning they learn from experts, colleagues, and customers, and they recognize and adapt to market conditions. They don't think they know everything, but they know that they can learn things from other people. And they tend to be very well organized, meaning they coordinate and manage resources efficiently. How entrepreneurial are you? Consider this question carefully before you start a business of your own. Look this list and ask yourself, how many of these characteristics describe me? If you think you have many of these characteristics, you may well have what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur and to go into business for yourself someday. If you lack these characteristics, then maybe you're not the entrepreneurial type. Maybe you're more the type of person who would be an employee of another entrepreneur. So let's imagine that you're an entrepreneur. Perhaps you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. How would you go about it? In most cases, you'd start with an idea for a product or a business. It might begin something like this. One day you're musing about the students at your school. You've noticed that some of them do not perform well in certain classes. They could do much better if they had someone to help them study. Many of these students or their parents would be willing to pay for that help. It also occurs to you that people who do well in those same subjects at your high school and the local college might want to earn some extra money. That's when it hits you. You could create a business to connect the students who need help with those who can provide it. The idea intrigues you, but is it realistic? Could you make money performing this service? Maybe it's worth thinking about some more. So you take out a sheet of paper and write at the top, the tutor shop, a possible name for your new business. Then you list some questions that you have to answer. First, how would you earn revenue? What would you charge money for, and how would that money come into you? Would you collect a fee from the tutor after each session with a student? Would you charge the tutors a one-time fee when you first connect them to each student? How would you find and create good tutors? How would you inform those who need tutors about the service? Once you begin trying to answer these questions and others like them, you are in the early stages of planning a business. You have become an entrepreneur. If you go through with your idea and build a successful business, you will be a living example of Adam Smith's invisible hand that we learned about in Chapter 1. Your main motive may be to earn profit for yourself, but to earn it, you will be providing a valuable service to society. Students who need help will have an easier time connecting to the right tutor, and potential tutors will have an easier time finding work and earning income. You will make other people, as well as yourself, better off. We'll leave it to you to think about how you could solve these specific puzzles and turn the tutor shop into a profitable business. In the next module, we will consider another decision you'll have to make: the form of the business you will create. What type of business will be the best one for you to form?